A new attempt at a ceasefire in the fierce fighting between the Sudanese troops and paramilitary forces in capital Khartoum has failed. People fearful about dwindling food supplies and a breakdown in medical services. At least 270 people have been killed and 2,600 have been injured in the conflict. 9 hospitals have been hit by artillery and 16 had to be evacuated, with none operating fully inside the capital. According to the Sudanese Doctors' Union, the conflict has dashed hopes for progress towards democracy in Sudan. At least 85 have been killed while hundreds have been injured in Yemen's capital Sana'a during a stampede incident. The stampede broke out during a charity distribution in a school, according to the Houthi officials. As per the officials, more than 322 people are injured and those dead include women and children. The dead and injured have been moved to nearby hospitals. The Houthi Interior Ministry has said that those responsible for the distribution have been taken into custody and authorities have been called for an investigation. US Supreme Court has kept on hold the limits set by lower courts on access to an abortion pill in a challenge by anti-abortion groups to the drug's federal regulatory approval. The decision to keep the matter on hold gives the justices more time to consider requests by President Joe Biden's administration and the pill's manufacturer as well to block an April 7th preliminary injunction issued by a Texas judge that would greatly limit the availability of the pill. The latest order extends the pause on the dispute until Friday. The Supreme Court judge has previously halted the lower court rulings until the end of Wednesday. Republican U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy on Wednesday unveiled a plan to raise the nation's debt ceiling by $1.5 trillion and cut federal spending by 3 times that amount. McCarthy's proposal, which he introduced on the floor of the House of Representatives, would cut the total amount of domestic and military spending to 2022 levels and cap growth at 1% annually in the years to come. It would not touch retirement and health programs that are projected to expand dramatically as the population ages. President Joe Biden and the Democratic-controlled Senate are likely to reject the proposals. New York City mayor has accused the White House of turning its back on New York City as America's most populous city has taken in several migrants sent from the Mexican border in Texas. He described it as one of the largest humanitarian crises that has hit the city. Now, the mayor said that New York has received over 52,000 migrants since last year and over 200 asylum seekers arrive in New York City each day. He also added that the migrant influx into New York would cost the city more than $4 billion at a time when the city is already facing a major budget shortfall. Two Alabama teenagers have been taken into custody and charged with murder in a shooting at a birthday party that left 4 dead and 32 injured. The suspects are 17 and 16-year-old. The 2 suspects would be charged as adults, according to the District Attorney of Alabama. The shooting incident in Alabama followed deadly gun violence in Tennessee and Kentucky. Thus, it prompted local leaders to call for tighter gun control measures. The U.S. Department of Defense released footage of what it calls a pattern of unprofessional behavior by the Russian Air Force over Syria. The footage shows 2 recent incidents. In the first, from the 2nd of April, a Russian Su-35 jet intercepts a U.S. F-16 in a way labeled on the video as unsafe and unprofessional, while the second, from Tuesday, shows another Su-35 that says that the United States violated coalition airspace over Syria and then maneuvered within 2,000 feet of the aircraft when it was intercepted. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that delivering goods to regions of Ukraine that Russia unilaterally annexed last year was problematic and ordered the government to address the problem. Putin visited the Russian-controlled territory in Ukraine's Luhansk and Kherson region on Monday. According to the Kremlin, Kherson, Zaporizhia, Luhansk and Donetsk are the four regions that Putin proclaimed annexed last September, following what Ukraine said was sham referendums. Russian forces only partly control the four regions. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov will discuss the Ukraine Black Sea grain export deal with UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres in New York next week. This will be just weeks before the pact could expire unless Russian demands regarding its own exports are met. Lavrov is due to chair two UN Security Council meetings as Russia holds the presidency of the 15-member body. This grain export deal was brokered by the United Nations and Turkey in July 2022 to help tackle a global food crisis worsened by the war in Ukraine. It was extended in November, and then last month Russia only agreed to renew the deal for at least 60 days. A British government minister has said that Russian cyber hackers want to destroy UK infrastructure. The minister said that the UK was taking the unprecedented step of warning businesses of the threat posed by online hackers. He warned that a successful cyber attack on critical national infrastructure such as energy grid or water supply could be highly destructive and do serious real-world damage. Britain's National Cybersecurity Centre had earlier said that it had gathered evidence on campaigns by Russian-aligned hacktivists. And New Delhi is hosting the first Global Buddhist Summit. Delegates, monks, scholars from 30 countries will be taking part in the two-day summit. The theme of the summit is Responses to Contemporary Challenges. The event is being organized by the Ministry of Culture in collaboration with the International Buddhist Confederation. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres will convene envoys on Afghanistan from various countries next month to try to find a unified approach to dealing with the Taliban. The closed-door meeting will take place in Doha on the 1st and the 2nd of May, and it aims to reinvigorate the international engagement around common objectives for a durable way forward on Afghanistan, according to the UN spokesperson. Azerbaijan President met Israeli Foreign Minister in Azerbaijan's capital on Wednesday. Azerbaijan President praised recent opening of his country's embassy in Israel and the positive development of bilateral ties. The Israeli Foreign Minister's visit comes amid growing tensions between Baku and Tehran, dispute between Azerbaijan and Israel. A French SpiderMan has climbed a 38-story high skyscraper in Paris to protest against the pension reform in France. At 60 years old, he's a well-known climber in France. He climbs without a harness, using only his bare hands and a pair of climbing shoes. He has denounced the use of Article 49.3 to push the pension reform bill through without a vote in the parliament after months of protests. He has scaled more than 150 tower structures worldwide, including Dubai's Burj Khalifa, the Eiffel Tower, and San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge. Residents of Mexico City evacuated homes and buildings for an emergency earthquake drill on Wednesday. The drill is an event to ensure residents are ready should the next big quake hit. It brought back traumatic memories from many city residents from deadly quakes that rocked the capital. Mexico's last massive quake in 2017 killed hundreds. The 7.1 magnitude quake hit central Mexico in 2017, hours after a memorial evacuation drill. Tens of thousands of buildings were damaged and dozens died as schools and offices collapsed. Cuban lawmakers on Wednesday re-elected Miguel DiazCanel as president for a second term amid economic crisis. DiazCanel, leader of the Communist Party, the country's only recognized political movement, received a landslide vote of more than 97% of the National Assembly. The newly elected president, in a televised speech, thanked cheering lawmakers for their support and pledged to control inflation. Inflation has soared in Cuba, and long lines for fuel, medicine and food have raised tensions, fanning unrest that led to the largest protests in decades in July 2021. Hundreds of thousands have migrated off the Caribbean island in the past year, fleeing economic ruin. Son of former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro, Congress member Eduardo Bolsonaro lost his temper after a fellow lawmaker said that the 2018 stabbing attack against his father had been fake. Footage of the incident shows Bolsonaro angrily walking towards a Workers' Party Congress member place to insult him as his peers try to hold him back. The incident occurred during a work commission meeting on Wednesday in September 2018 during a presidential campaign rally. Former President Bolsonaro was attacked with a knife in the stomach. South Florida has experienced a fuel shortage after heavy rainfall and flooding last week. In some parts, heavy rain have caused severe flooding or residents A new study shows that more than 110,000 elementary school-age children in the United States have profound autism. Children are diagnosed with profound autism when they have an IQ of 50 or less, and kids who cannot communicate through speaking. Researchers looked at school and medical records from the year 2000 to 2016 for more than 20,000 8-year-olds identified as having autism spectrum disorder. They found that the rate of profound diagnosis grew from about 3 cases per 1,000 children to about 2 in 2000 to about 5 cases per 1,000 children in 2016. The rate of kids diagnosed with milder forms of autism grew from 4% per 1,000 to 14% per 1,000 over those years. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.